Humans crave simplicity and reject uncertainty. So what happens when powerful states leaders make complicated decisions that will impact thousands, if not millions of people? What is going through their mind? What factors are they weighing? And most importantly, how do they know they've made the right choice? Welcome to FPTV, where we give you and all our international leaders a heart attack. Robert Jervis, professor of international politics at Columbia University, likes to use the example of the movie Rashomon, the story of the same murder told through different perspectives to show the turbulent psychology of international politics. Everyone's view of each other in their own respect is a valid truth. Now put powerful nation-states leaders in this same position. How are they supposed to make the right decisions? Decisions that benefit every party involved when none of them take the time to understand why everyone's truth, however different, however contradictory, is still true. So where are the specifics where some nations go wrong? Let's dive into some examples of humane humility in seemingly inhuman people. Before that though, we have to understand three things. 1. It's a complicated world out there. Humans don't have the time, or more frankly, the capacity to be fully rational. Usually leaders will result in perceiving the other party as more centralized, downplaying the potential of accidents from the other side, and comparing situations to past experiences that might not be entirely accurate, and simplifying into stories and theories that are much easier for the little human brain to understand. Many economic and political theories assume that national decision makers are utility maximizing rational thinkers. Fun fact, they are very much not. 2. Because many political arguments involve the phenomenon of belief overkill. Hold on, rewind. What is belief overkill? Multiple, not logically connected reasons for believing so deeply in something, contributing to overconfidence, lack of a plan B. It can also create clashes between statesmen and a difficulty of empathy towards the opposing side. Leaders need to believe in their decisions in order to sell them to others, so they tend to overbelieve in any of their decisions once they've made their choice, making it even more of an emotional endeavor instead of a rational one. Additionally, some decisions are simply made because of the way we were brought up in the world, or sometimes even genetics. Understanding these circumstances can be extremely difficult, since there's only one true person that can understand those irrational goals you make as a child, the fears you gained, and the insecurities you hope to overcome. On that note, here are some examples of common errors seen in the decision-making of international leaders. Humans inhabit a worldview in which they interpret reality. Most end up resisting, ignoring, or working hard to disprove information that does not match their worldview. A very important note, this can't be confused with a lack of knowledge or willful ignorance. Your ability to conflict information increases with experience and education. We see what we expect because our brain discounts anything else. Now let's look at an example. Let's say a politician believes that a certain group of persons are more likely to be radical, commit treason, and let's just call them Group A's. This politician has a general disdain for this Group A population. Usually, they will use their political standing to pass legislation that disenfranchises this specific demographic. Now, protests are going to break out, the Group A's are going to demand justice, but the politician sees these acts of expression as justification for his beliefs. The constructed worldview of the politician interpreted reality in a way which upheld his beliefs the best, disregarding any other cause for the protests or what those protests could mean. This is known as confirmation bias. Humans don't want to hold conflicting beliefs. It's uncomfortable. Disregarding and defending feels much easier to the simple human mind. Next up, fundamental attribution error. If your friend does something, let's say, not so friendly, you're more likely to focus on the circumstances that compelled them to do so. But let's say your high school bully does something friendly, you might also focus on what absolutely compelled them to do so. Essentially, the interpretation of adversaries' or allies' actions is different based on who they are. Let's compare. If an ally does something good, It's in their nature. If an adversary does good, they were compelled to do so. That's what they're telling us. We don't even know their true motive. See how there's more questioning when it's someone you don't trust? Let's look at it from the United States point of view. Britain provides humanitarian aid to a country. The US, gushing in its mother country's glory, smiles and nods, believing that Britain would do the right thing. They are a friendly, diplomatic country, after all. Now, the US would only focus on the reason that a country would have to provide humanitarian aid, international precedent, or diplomatic benefits if the country providing humanitarian aid was Russia. Usually, we judge someone's behavior not based on the context of their situation, but their moral character in relation to us. Humans crave simplicity, but they're also pretty egotistical. If a statesman is making a drastic decision based on this next error, this nation leader is in some serious heat. Prospect theory. The tolerance for risk is based on one's perception of the current situation. When things are going well, humans are more averse to making risks. When things are going badly, leaders are more likely to pursue risky strategies that have a much higher likelihood of loss. President Putin is not as confident as he used to be. Threatened by the risks of being voted out of office, he has started taking more risks, invading Crimea, poisoning his key opposition Alexei Navalny, and maybe even Russia's interference in the 2016 election were all desperate reaches by Putin to elevate his diplomatic position. If Putin felt comfortable in his position, would he go out of his way to stir up international trouble? No, he has not much to lose. And you know what they say? If your position diplomatically is going down, just start a war. A leader in this position could be extremely dangerous, as the nothing to lose mindset can exacerbate belief systems and lead to an even more irrational decision making. If you want to check out a more in-depth video on a similar theory, check out our shock therapy doctrine video on our Instagram. Looking back to the example of Rashomon, there are so many perspectives, so many different ways to view each other in every single country, so many lives on the table. Statesmen will try to act in the best interests of their country, but humility is prevalent. Today, we looked at some examples of how we can bring these politicians back down to earth. Small biases in every human are magnified when statesmen have the power to act. Understanding the perspective of others is extremely prevalent. If we as a society want to grow, our mission at FPTV is to provide content for you. The youth need to have a hand because I argue their perspective is mighty important. We hope you learned something with us today and enjoyed our video. For more information on this topic, as well as many others, visit the FPYC website link in the description. Check out our bite-sized IGTVs on Instagram and follow us wherever you can. And as always, stay young, stay informed.